Hello, this is the Embodied Performance podcast. This is Nick Markey of Beach Barbell. We do physical therapy and training in Wilmington, North Carolina. This is the second podcast. I'm recording it on my drive into Wilmington, nice and early in the morning. It's the best time for me to get things done. Anyways, yesterday's podcast was more of an origin story of what I'm trying to do with this and why, and sort of the topics, kind of an overview of the topics that I'm going to hit upon. So today is an actual topic. It's one I don't think I've really talked about on the blog yet on Facebook. So what I want to talk about is challenging your bias. So what I mean by that is your bias is something that you tend to favor. So for me, with training, my bias would be lifting weights. Usually in a certain rep range, maybe 5 to 10-ish reps. It's what I like to do best, but that also leaves a lot out of stuff that you could also help in training, more endurance type work, heavier work, more power, that kind of thing. So what I did was a few weeks back, I joined CrossFit Inside Out. I've never tried CrossFit, kind of had a general idea what it was. The strength portion of it is fine, totally fits into my bias. The Metcon part, where you're doing more constant movement and they vary at different exercises each time, that is a little bit more against my bias. Probably something I wouldn't go and challenge if it were just me. So from just a training perspective, challenging your bias, of course, this could be applied to lots of different things like politics and your beliefs and whatnot. But we'll just focus on the training and performance. From a training perspective, challenging your bias would be finding those things that you don't do within your training. That doesn't mean you have to stop doing the thing that you like and favor. Like if you're a runner, I wouldn't say, hey, just stop running and switch to just weightlifting. But it would be a good idea to add in some resistance training if you are only running. And probably vice versa. If you are only resistance training, probably would be a good idea to add in an aerobic element like running or swimming, brisk walking, biking, whatever. The reason why it's a good idea to challenge your bias is that, one, just from a pure training perspective, it helps keep things fresh, keeps things from maybe getting too boring if you're just doing the same thing over and over. This could possibly be good for potential accommodation effects in training. That's where you keep adding a similar thing on to your training and you kind of hit a plateau. So when that happens, it's a good idea to switch things up. And that could be something that maybe is outside of your comfort zone. And it's good for mental toughness and resilience, because going outside of your comfort zone, helps you grow, helps you think differently about who you are and what you can do. And I think this has a lot to do with kind of the identity that you might surround yourself in. So for instance, someone that's an introvert, kind of like me, going out of my comfort zone to just go talk to strangers and meet people is very scary. But it offers a lot of growth, and there's a lot of potential. You never know who you might meet. So you can kind of look at this topic, challenging your bias, from many different angles. And, and you don't even have to start with an insane amount. You could start with just a little bit. Like for the introvert example, you can say, hey, I'm just going to meet one new stranger a day, something like that. For the training, working out, challenging of your bias, you just might look at what you do currently and add in, a few minutes of the other thing. So if you're just running, you might add in 5 minutes of resistance training with your workouts. And that could even be just, I go and do push-ups on the bench, in a certain point in the park. It could be something small like that. And that's probably a good way to start, because it'll feel more manageable, and you can gradually push into those aspects of yourself that do seem, scary or maybe uncomfortable or whatever. But that's where you can really find a lot of growth when you step outside that safety zone, that comfort zone. Now, of course, you want to keep it within a reasonable amount. You don't want to just do, a lot more weight than you normally do, or a lot more running suddenly than you normally do. That's when people tend to aggravate things, and then I see them in physical therapy all the time, and that's more of just you might call a training error, where you ramp up things way too fast that you're not used to. But if you started on a very, very small amount, that would be most likely would be fine. And you might even then see a performance enhancement in your other activities that you tend to favor, because you're going to be working on systems that you don't tend to work on. So the cool part about that is that those systems aren't accommodated yet. So you actually will see quite a bit bigger boost quickly initially. Still good to take it nice and slow. But it's an effect that can be motivating when someone's first getting into training, where you are, constantly making gain after gain after gain. If you just started resistance training for the first time in your life, those first few months, a year or so, you might be making just gains every week. Now that gradually diminishes you start to accommodate to it and become more advanced in your lifting, and and then that's maybe when you step into challenging other aspects of your systems. It's also good from just a well-rounded person. If you believe a certain thing, no matter where that belief is, you have a certain way you behave or act, very certain things you do, very certain ways you exercise. Stepping outside of that comfort zone, you start to round yourself out a bit more. Try listening to, different music once in a while. Try talking to somebody about politics who doesn't believe in the same thing you believe in. Start reading things that normally outside of the things you read. Just different things like that. And including the working out in different ways. Again, the workout part, I wouldn't say that you would completely abandon the thing you like to do, or just completely change it all the time. You do want to, if you want to get better at running, you need to run. If you want to get better at lifting weights, you need to lift weights. But those other training types can be a helpful thing for you to round yourself out, become, I guess, more of an athlete. That's another way to think of it. You might go, hey, an athlete's got to be able to run, jump, lift, and endure, all sorts of aspects. And you can even apply that broadly to life, your daily life. You have to do all sorts of different things. So thinking of quote unquote training like an athlete kind of mentality, you'll hit a lot of those different elements. So I think that's probably good for this morning. I'm following the Don't Break the Chain habit from Atomic Habits. It's a great book if you listen or read about how to change behavior and move towards the kind of thing you want to be. So I hope you have a great day. I will go ahead and post this out there. And if you need to reach out to me, again, I'm Nick Markey at Beach Barbell, doing physical therapy and training here. And we'll be opening up a gym soon, and some other cool stuff going on I'm setting up, and I'll hit upon that probably the next few days as I get some more information. All right. Thank you very much.